Hello, everyone, and welcome to Meow Mix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
We're back.
Kind of.
It's been,
Hop,
yeah,
hopping
this
on
is,
one leg, black eyed,
it
struggling over here.
hasn't been easy, but we are back. We've been trying to go for about an hour now, and yeah, so we took a little bit of time off. I mean, honestly, guys, there's just nothing going on. I mean, there's a couple of things here and there we're going to talk about, but it's that time of the season where there's just not a lot to talk about, and we're not going to put out episodes, just put out episodes. So,
We're both way
um,
too busy right now. But I finally
yeah,
got the
that's
computer built. That's what took
yeah.
so
Got
long.
Jerry's computer built. He's not on it right now,
No, no,
but
because I forgot a couple programs that I needed to download and
you'll
stuff.
see the fruits of that labor here at some point. But
Some point.
right now, we're just in our same old recording setup here. But yeah, we got a few things to talk about today. Just kind of wanted to really just get back together. It's been a while since we've done this, so uh, there's
Yeah.
a few things that have happened since the last time we got together, though, Jerry.
All right. Let's actually start off with kind of interesting news. The kind of came out of nowhere that Tepper wants $650 million from locals or from the government to renovate
Hmm.
Panther Stadium.
From
Um,
the taxpayers.
from the taxpayers. Now, I do want to say this: this is not an increase in tax. This tax is already happening,
Hmm.
and what they're gonna do, it's a 1% hospitality tax, and they're gonna reallocate some money for it. That's what's happening. So don't think that they're adding new taxes
Don't
because
don't
they've
write your
already added that
congressman.
tax.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of this money is going to come from that tennis complex that they were going to build and are apparently no longer building. So really, I mean, I get it, right? Like a billionaire, multi times billionaire asking us poor people for money, like that sucks. But that's just the way it's done.
I agree.
Every city does it. Every team does it. There are very, very, very few owners that it will foot the entire bill for anything.
Hmm.
It's just that's how they get all their money. Like they just don't do that kind of thing.
Now
So
he
yeah,
is footing about half of it,
yeah,
supposedly, and in doing so, that they're going to be tied to Charlotte for 15 years. It originally reported 20 years, but they have it out after 15.
yeah,
So
yeah.
15 years,
And,
this will sign, and it's for an upgrade of the stadium. I mean, $1.2 billion to upgrade the stadium, but
big upgrade. I
it better
mean,
be.
the renders are out there if you guys want to check out the renders if you haven't already. I mean, this news came out what last week, I guess,
Yeah.
week before maybe, but um, it looks nice. For that kind of money, I don't know. I mean, would you want a retractable roof? It seems like that's what a lot of people are kind of confused about is if you're going to spend 1.2, 1.3 billion dollars, why not put a roof on it, get yourself a Final Four, get yourself,
Hmm.
maybe a better chance at a Super Bowl. I mean, that I kind of see it. Like I see that reasoning.
Not only that, it feels like it's getting hotter and hotter. Like maybe it's just my old man body is starting to creep in
No,
on me.
the evidence shows, Jerry, that is true.
But I was
Yeah.
like, why not do something with what like Miami did? At least like the shade and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
I get really hot at that stadium. $1.2 billion. I was hoping that some sort of covering and stuff would help.
Yeah, I think that's what isn't Jacksonville. They're kind of redoing their stadium and they're putting a roof on it, right?
I'm not sure honestly. I
I,
haven't
I
paid that
think
much.
that's true. Either that is true or someone lied to me when they told me that. But um, the renderings look good. Like, they're going to redo a lot of the inside of the stadium, the concourses. They're putting like a standing only section in a few levels that's going
I
to
hate those,
remove.
by the way.
It looks like it's going to remove like thousands of upper level seats, um, or at least hundreds. But yeah, it's the outside is the most intriguing to me because supposedly they're going to kind of line the outside of the stadium with these massive video walls, right? That are going to
Hmm.
kind of be like on the side of the stadium. If they did something where they aired the games live as they were happening on those outside screens, and they kind of set up some sort of little, I don't know, you can put drinks, you put, benches and okay, like just a cool place to hang out there. Um, Warmers like in the winter, things like that. I think that'd be a cool place to watch a game, just kind of hanging out
But
there right
still
by the
hearing the
stadium.
stadium. But the problem is
Yeah,
they would still charge you like 30, $40 to get in there.
I, better than having to pay that to go into the stadium, find your seat, all that stuff. I mean, and honestly, you're probably getting a better experience for watching the game.
I
I,
don't know. I I am a little let down by some of the renderings. It doesn't look that much of an improvement. The one thing I will say is I think they said something like 400 or 500 million towards structural integrity.
mhm.
100% okay with that. Let's do that.
Yeah, yeah. Although they had a company come in and basically look at the stadium, and they apparently are very impressed by how well built it is and how good it's holding up. They say it's even it's an older stadium. What is it, 30
Yeah, I mean it's one of the older
over 30
stadiums in
years
the
old?
league now. So
Yeah, but it's holding up well. Good bones, that was the phrase that they used. But yeah, and Tepper was asked about the roof thing, and basically said, "Oh, look, Serper," and he basically said that the weather's too nice in Charlotte. But let me tell you, if you've been to that stadium at a 1 o'clock game in the early September, it's hot. It
yes,
gets damn hot in those seats, and that's not a lot of fun. And we've been to games when it's cold and pouring rain, and
Atlanta
that's not
Falcons
any
wild
fun.
card game, or was that a
Arizona,
yeah
Arizona, yeah, 20. I don't know if that was
20
2015, maybe 2014,
2014 or
but
2013 because we didn't go
yeah,
in
yeah.
20.
But yeah, I mean, because that's I would have liked a roof.
Me
I'll
too.
just say it. I would have liked a roof. I think that would have been money well spent, and I think you'd have seen the return off of it. But keeping the team here guaranteed for the next 15 years, probably more. I would assume at that point you're looking at a new stadium, right? I mean, at
Yeah,
that point you're closing in on 50 years old for that stadium. So at that point you're definitely looking at a new stadium. But uh, I don't know. Keep the team here. That's all I really care about.
yeah, and at least they're not asking for more taxes. I mean, this is our opinion. Obviously, you're gonna have your own opinion, and
Sure,
650 million can do a lot of good in a community. It no matter
it
what
can.
we want.
And this money was earmarked for that this type of spending, right? This improvement of the social or gaming, whatever type of whatever category you want to call it. But it's still, you're right. I mean, $650 million is a lot of money and could be used to some social programs, things like that, to kind of help clean up Charlotte. But uh, what are you gonna do? You want an NFL team, you got to pay for it.
Yeah, and,
That's the bottom line.
and everyone who says that it brings in that much money, no, it doesn't. All the real like reports come out that show the impact of having an NFL teams. You lose money on the stadium. That's just the way it is.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, you're bringing money in on travel and hotel, things like that, but it'll take a while likely to make up that $650 million for the city. But again, if you want to be a world class city, you have to have an NFL team. That's just the way it is.
yeah,
Think of a world class city that doesn't have an NFL team in the United States.
I was gonna say you got to say in the United States.
Right, right. But even out, outside the United States, they got soccer teams are kind of that for the rest of the world, right?
Yeah, no, you're
And
absolutely correct.
I don't know the logistics of the financing when it comes to that stuff, but I would imagine that it's similar, right? I would imagine that these owners aren't paying for everything. Again, I might be wrong, but that's just the way it is in the United States. So unfortunate, but
It is
you
what
want
it
to keep your
is.
team, you keep your team.
And all the people who kept saying Tepper was planning on moving the team. I mean, this is definitely on its way of not moving the team.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't know where he would move the team like that.
someone would fork over money. I mean,
Oh, sure, sure. Like there are cities that don't have an NFL team that want one, but when you're the NFL and you're looking at those cities and you're looking at, markets and fan bases and things like that, it doesn't make any sense to move the team out of Charlotte into one of those places, right? Like St. Louis has already proved that they don't want to pay for a stadium. What do you got? Like Oklahoma City, San Antonio, like these are better markets than Charlotte.
Completely not off topic, but St. Louis gave a good proposal for a stadium. Stan Kroenke just wanted to
Wow,
get to LA, so
that's
he
true.
refused
That's
it.
true.
So I
Yeah.
don't want to knock St. Louis too much because that city, and they've supported every minor league football team that has gone there, the
Yeah,
Battle
yeah.
Hawks and
You
whatever.
figure they'll eventually get another team,
Yeah,
and that would be the fear, I guess. That's but the NFL loves doing that. They love having a city that's ready for a team that they can use, that the other owners can use as leverage, right?
San
So St.
Antonio,
Yeah,
Toronto, Mexico
yeah.
City.
These
Watch.
are the names we hear every time.
Yep. So
London, right? We hear them every time. But again, I none of those places make sense to me in terms of a team moving from Charlotte to those places for for what? Like you're not getting more viewers for the St. Louis Panthers than you are the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Panthers get more viewers if they're a better team, right?
no.
I mean that's it.
Well,
And they're on their way to trying to be a better team,
yeah.
Jerry.
Hey, segue. The schedule was released too.
Yeah.
No primetime games, and some Panther fans were upset. I was not because honestly, the past few years I struggled to watch this team, so I
Yeah.
could just imagine everyone else.
Yeah, we didn't earn it, and they said it. Dave Canales, Bryce Young, they both said you have to earn those primetime spots, and this team has not been good for many years. Now they do have 3 4 o'clock games in a row. I think they have 2 other 4 o'clock games, and then there's the 9:30 a.m. Germany game. So that'll kind of be that's the
Prime
primetime
time
game,
game.
right? That's the primetime game. But no Thursday night game. You do have the Week 18 game that's TBD. That could, I guess, end up being a primetime game. Really, any of these things could end up being a primetime game if the Panthers
After the first
shock
4
the
weeks.
world.
Yeah.
Right. But I would expect the schedule will stay exactly as is. At the very worst, you could see some of these 1 o'clock games being moved to 4:05 to kind of get the Panthers out of that window. But man, I don't know. It is what it is, right? Like I was disappointed not to see any primetime games. I like watching night games for the Panthers, but again, like you said, they who wants to watch it on a national
100%.
level?
Like
Yeah.
the past 3 years, have any of our fan base really wanted to get excited for games towards the end of the
After,
season
I was gonna
to
say after
watch?
the first month or so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I don't think. I mean, last year was probably the worst time I've ever had to force myself to watch some games.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, and
Agreed.
I'm not the only one.
No, it got terrible there towards the end. I mean, nobody wanted everything you heard was negative. Nobody wanted to talk anything positive about the Panthers. It was a mess. Last year was a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And the year before that was a mess. And the year before that was a mess. Pretty much every year since David Tepper has taken over has been a mess. It's been a revolving door at the coaching position, quarterback position, wide receiver position. Like nothing has been stable. Uh, we'll see. We'll see how this year goes, but history is not on our side here. Recent history, at least.
Yeah. Uh, let's actually go on to. Is there anything else we want to talk about before moving on to our main subject? I know
Just
OTAs are going on and everything.
yeah, just to put a pin in the schedule. Week 11 bye. I like that's a good bye. I like those later buys. So we've had week 13, I think, like the last 2 or 3 years, or several of the last 2 or 3 years. So week 11 bye is good. Cowboys week 15. That'll be one that a lot of you will be interested in. But otherwise, no real surprises with the schedule. I mean, we've known the opponents for a while. No Christmas game. That's it.
Yeah.
No Thanksgiving game, Jerry. Surprise.
Yeah. One time in our illustrious
Yeah.
history,
It was a
but it was
great
a
one though.
good one.
It was a great one.
A great one. Yeah, OTAs. Moving on. OTAs are happening. Xavier Leggett injured a hamstring and's been held out quite a few weeks now. Uh,
Yeah.
it doesn't seem that serious. Canales said he would play if needed,
Yeah.
but I agree. Hamstrings linger. You might as well let him take this time to get it rested. The
Yeah.
guy, as soon as he was drafted, really started working, like putting out videos where he was working as soon as he was drafted and everything else. Like he wasn't my top receiver coming out, but he is winning me over as a guy I think he has the ability to become a good number one wide receiver, and it looks like he's working on that. Let him
Yeah.
stay healthy.
Yeah. It's June. It's early June. You never put a guy out there if he stubs his toe. Let him sit out for 2 practices. Like there's no reason to right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're working on playbooks, they're working on timing, things like that. Be great if he could be out there if he was fully healthy, but there's no reason to. He'll get all that stuff in training camp in a couple, a few weeks here when that starts up. So he can still look the playbook. He can still kind of go through the motions, but definitely hold him out. That being said, what we've seen, just from the few videos posted, things like that. I guess it's encouraging. I've seen some good throws from Bryce. I've seen some decent protection from the guys. Seen some great catches from Deontay Johnson. That seems to be what a lot of fans have been excited about, is seeing him out there making plays. That great route running that he has. You've seen some glimpses of that. So, again, it's everybody's going to get excited when you're out there in shorts, but it's June and it's football. It's back ish. So you got to be excited about something, right?
Yeah. DJ Johnson's last year's third round pick, who was traded up for, was carted off the field a couple days ago. I haven't
Yeah.
gotten an update of what it was, but being carted off is never good.
I'll be honest with you. I have not given one crap about looking to see what an update is with him. I did not like the pick when it happened, and I think he's a cut candidate as far as I'm concerned this year. I don't think he's very good.
Yeah, I
So
mean, the
yeah,
defense hasn't changed. So,
yeah.
yeah, I if he's not performing, I kind of agree with you. He was an older draft pick too, so
Of all the DJs on the team, he was the one that we could afford to lose the most. So
yeah. I mean, although
yeah.
that position is very very
It is
scarce.
thin, but again, that position will get better as cuts happen, as things like that go on. We have the number one waiver pick, right? So we'll be able to upgrade some of these positions as things like that happen. But yeah, I mean, it sucks for him, right? Like, I don't think he's a bad guy or anything. He's had made some questionable choices in his college career, but uh, it sucks when people get injured.
Mm-hmm.
That's the nicest thing I can say.
All
What
right.
else?
Now, do we want to do the segment now on the new look offense, like kind of discussing positions, how it might work, or do we want to hold off on that?
Well, we could have discussed that offline, I guess.
Well, honestly, I didn't think those little tidbits of news would take us into the 20th minute. So,
Yeah. Well, I, we'll just say this, right? Like, yeah, why not? Why not? Let's look up the
so
roster.
so first off, while you're looking at the roster, I could go ahead
Yeah.
and go. The big difference and the big upfront difference is the fact that they got a lot bigger up front to protect Bryce.
Yeah.
Um, we know this is going to be a whole new offensive scheme. Dave Canales has preached 2.7 seconds. He needs to get the ball out. So with Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis coming over in free agency and sliding oh my god, Austin Corbett to center. They're really bulking up that middle and hopefully kind of leaning more on the run game too, which
Yeah.
I think is smart. I think Chuba, Miles Sanders, and Brooks can become a really three-headed monster. I know Sanders looked like nothing last year. I mean,
Yeah.
he looked bad. We are begging for Chuba to take over.
And
I
he
also
eventually did.
Yeah, I also think that that scheme did not fit Chuba, or not Chuba, Miles Sanders, and I don't think the O line fit that scheme, which caused both to struggle immensely. Now I'm
Yeah.
hoping that Dave Canales can work something that is more player friendly to this team, which that's what it sounds like he's done in Seattle and Tampa Bay. I did notice that he doesn't run as many RPOs as you know Bryce Young did in college. So I'm curious to see how that'll change because Bryce didn't run a lot of RPOs here last year either, and that was a big strength of his coming out of college.
Yeah, and again, with different personnel, Dave Canales has said that he's the type that will adapt to his people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if if they run some RPOs and stuff like that starts working, then I could easily see him integrating that more. But yeah, I mean, just look at the major offseason moves. You add your two big tack or big guards, right?
Mm-hmm.
You draft Jonathan Brooks in the second round, first RB taken, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're gonna have a commitment to the run. I mean, Dave Canales has preached it. It makes sense, especially with a young quarterback who, let's be honest, we're just not sure about,
Yeah.
right? So you bring in Jonathan Brooks, who I am assuming is going to be your number one once the season rolls around, as long as he's healthy. You've got Chuba, and then like you said, you got Miles Sanders, who provides a spark. He's made plays before. He can do some stuff out of the backfield. So I like that. And then you improve your passing game as well with Deontay Johnson, who is, I think, is a really underrated pick at this point. Like, um, he is going to really change the way this offense looks. Then you draft Leggett, who ends up going in the first round, the tail end of the first round, who you're hoping becomes your other big threat. Uh, Rookie wide receivers, mixed bag in terms of that year one production sometimes, but long term, I'm high on it. I think it's going to be great. And then you've got Marshall, you've got Mingo, who you're trying to develop. Like, the future is, they're moving in the right direction.
I
Okay,
was
I
I
don't know
was
that it's not all going to come together. I don't think in the first week or two,
no,
but
no.
it's things are, there's a plan
The,
and they're executing.
there's a plan. This is a contract year for Deontay Johnson. He did mention
Mm-hmm.
trying to get extended with the Panthers, and I think that's what you want to hear out of him.
Yeah.
He had an 1,100-yard season before uh, Kenny Tiny Hands Pickett started throwing him the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that was a big drop off, and then last year he obviously struggled a little bit with injuries and everything. Didn't play all the time that much, but I mean he still had 800 and 700 yards in those Kenny Pickett years. The year before that with Roethlisberger's 1,100.
Yeah. I mean, we had Adam Thielen. We still have Adam Thielen as well. I mean, if Adam Thielen's your third wide receiver, that's not bad,
No,
right? That's pretty good.
and with Bryce last year, he relied on him so much because
Mm-hmm.
he knew where he was going to be. He knew he could fit the ball to Thielen, and Thielen was going to try to come down with it. The other receivers last year, awful in separation. Thielen wasn't much better, but Thielen was at least consistent where he was going to be and
Yeah.
getting and trying to catch the ball.
Thielen is where Bryce expected him to be, right?
Yes.
He ran the routes correctly and he caught the ball most of the time when it was thrown to him, right?
Yeah.
Um, those other guys, again, it's, you know, we'll harp on it over and over and over again because it is true. The coaching last year, especially, was just atrocious. The scheme was atrocious. The plan was really poorly thought out. It did not work. It's really, really hard to judge Bryce, Mingo, even Marshall, who just didn't get any better, right? Marshall didn't get any better last year.
Mingo
Uh,
did really get better. That was a big thing with me. Is like you had this big guy who was very raw
mhm.
coming out Ole Miss, who who had the body and physicality that you want out of a receiver, but he had manufactured touches in college, but he
Yeah.
had no real route running. Well, that didn't improve any. And I feel like we almost have two rookie wide receivers this year with Leggett and Mingo. I
Yeah.
I think Leggett's a lot better prospect coming out of college. I think even though he was a little bit older, his last year he was making different route trees than Mingo's only manufactured touches. Now, he's not a route specialist, but it will be interesting to see if Mingo can show a lot more promise than he did that first year. Like just learning from better coaching, learning from better scheme. I mean,
Yeah.
Dave Canales wants to run the ball. Great. That opens up play action, something that last year they really didn't run a lot of. They didn't do motions. They didn't do play actions. And
Yeah. It
I've
was
already
as
heard there's
vanilla as
more.
possible. Yeah.
I've already heard
I would
there's
hope so.
more this year in the OTAs.
It
So,
couldn't be less,
oh, there
right?
could be, but you know,
I guess there could be, but yeah, I mean, I guess excuse me, one of the other major questions is going to be Icky,
mm-hmm.
right? Is Icky the long-term answer at left tackle? Even in a couple of these videos that they've shown, they're not highlighting it, obviously, the Panthers, but you know, Icky has kind of looked a little questionable, just even in shorts, right? And again, I'm not going crazy about that. I'm not even hardly looking into it or hardly thinking about it, but I'm a little bit thinking about it. Um, so I don't know if there's an opportunity at some point to kick him inside and try someone else out at left tackle, Christensen or even Lewis. Uh, uh, but that's going to be a big factor. But again, last year, yeah, he regressed last year, but everyone looked bad last year, right? The
Yeah.
whole team, the whole offense, everything looked terrible last year. So you hope that he can get back to, at the minimum, at looking as good as he did as a rookie, which was okay, right?
And I think that's what a lot of his rookie success was due to the scheme that uh why can I not think of our defensive coordinator's name?
Evero,
Not Evero, but
our defensive coordinator.
the one who ran for 200 and something yards with Deontay Foreman
Oh,
and
Wilkes.
thank you,
Yeah.
Wilkes. Wilkes kind of leaned into that, and that really kind of made Icky blossom towards the end of
Yeah.
the season. And I'm hoping Canales sees that and kind of works that type for him. And
Yeah.
now, if he doesn't, then okay, well, then we need to find another guy. That's fine. He doesn't fit that scheme, or you kick him inside, which I don't agree
Yeah.
with.
No, I
That
think you would kick him inside at that point. I mean, first of all, he's a number one draft pick. Like you're not, or no, first round draft pick. You're not getting rid of him, right? You have to use him. And from what I have heard, he does have the skill set to where being a guard would maybe work. So uh, I don't know. They just spent $100 million plus on guards, so I don't know that that's what's going to happen unless one of those two guys can kick out to the outside. But I think obviously the best case scenario is that he works out
yeah,
and he's a good left tackle.
I mean,
So
he was looking like a solid, you know, solid starter his
yeah,
first towards the end of his first year, and then last year was just awful.
yeah.
Um, Real quick before we sign off, we do have to talk about your favorite position
Oh,
besides kicker.
I was gonna get to the kickers, but go ahead.
I was gonna say tight end
Yeah, tight end there
with
as well.
Jatavion Sanders coming in
Mhm.
and stuff like that. But you know who Canales keeps talking about?
Tommy Tremble.
Tommy Tremble. I hear his name coming out of Canales' mouth
Yeah.
quite a bit. So I'll be interested to see what they do with him. If Canales doesn't seem like a coach speak type of guy, so we'll see how
Yeah.
that pans out.
Yeah, right now Trimble is listed, at the top of the depth chart for tight end. Not a surprise,
No,
right?
he should be. Well,
Sanders is listed ahead of Ian
Thomas.
Thomas though, so that is kind of interesting. Um, Again, I would not be surprised if this is finally the year Ian Thomas is cut. If so, then I will throw a party. But yeah, I mean, I think it would not surprise me one bit if you've got Tommy Trimble starting the season as the number one tight end, just because he's got the experience. He does have a good skill set. He's made some plays before. Who knows what happens if you've got a guy like Canales who wants to get him involved,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we'll see. Real quick though, the kicker situation. Okay, so Eddie P missed the first I don't know, several days or week of OTAs. Didn't show up. The reports were that maybe he wanted more money. Um, the Panthers signed Harrison Mevis to a 3-year deal. Now, obviously, that doesn't necessarily mean that he is going to make the team, but he is known as the thicker kicker.
And
And
he is thick.
if you've seen video of him, you understand why. Supposedly, he has been lights out
Mm-hmm.
in camp so far. Uh, Eddie P did return to camp a couple of days ago and supposedly has been kicking just fine. But yeah, it seems like maybe he saw, oh crap, I don't think I have the leverage I thought I had. Which I don't know why he would think he had leverage anyway. This is his third team in 4 years. You know, this is it's not like the guy is uh,
Oh
considered
no.
one of the best kickers in the league. So, but he was good for us last year, and he is a pretty accurate kicker. So
I last
I'd be
year
fine.
last
Go
year
ahead.
I think he was considered a top 5 kicker. But
I think
like
statistically he was up there, but he had a few big blown kicks.
but that
Uh,
was statistically and for one season. So it
right,
wasn't like he's
right.
been consistent. And that was been his not biggest knock since the NFL. He hasn't been consistent.
Yep,
So
yep. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Definitely something to keep our eyes on, Jerry, is
well,
that kicker
you're definitely
competition.
keeping an eye, especially someone with a great nickname, a thicker kicker.
Right, the thicker kicker. I love it. So
But
we'll see. But
if he's drafted or if he sticks on the team, can we reach out to him, see if he could do a thicker kicker pick or something like that each week of
oh,
something?
I I
The
don't know if he's
thicker.
legally allowed to do that, but that would
Oh,
be
that's right. He probably could.
yeah,
Thicker kicker
yeah.
picker or thicker. Someone's brainstorm
We could
some.
just yeah,
Reach out for him.
we could name a segment after him. How about that?
Okay. No, maybe
All
we could
right.
have him pick like the beer of the week or something like that. Something that he
Okay,
is not
sure,
gambling.
sure. Right. There you go.
We don't
All
want to
right,
get him in
Jerry. We
trouble.
are running out of our Zoom time here.
Oh
So
yes, sorry.
let's end this thing.
All right, we want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at Meow Mix Podcast. If you like us, please like and subscribe on YouTube.
Please like us. Please.
Please.
We'll be back soon. Until then, everybody stay safe out there and keep pounding.